Welcome back to WEDCO's restoration journey. As you have most likely already seen, an enormous amount has been achieved in the Royal Naval Dockyard in a tremendously short space of time. Not all of it, though, has been achieved simply by spending money. Yes, we have invested some $13 million into the infrastructure over the last 12 months, which does not include the money we have put into Cross Island. But equally important are the people who work at the many attractions in Dockyard, those who visit us, and the people who work for the West End Development Corporation. We are committed to ensuring our team here at WEDCO continually improves and evolves through internal training and support programs. One such example that we are pleased to share is that our entire corporation is now certified as tourism ambassadors. This was an important endeavor for us in order to ensure we have the skills and knowledge to aid in our frontline encounters and interactions with our visitors. Without the commitment and the loyalty from the WEDCO team and our Dockyard community, Dockyard would not be where it is today and where we are heading in the future. On that note, we hope to see you here in the Royal Naval Dockyard enjoying our improvements and upgrades very soon. But for now, please enjoy this glimpse into the projects we have been working on here in the West End.
At West End Development Corporation, we always strive for excellence and continually review and improve the way we work. It is that commitment that allows for the evolution of the Royal Naval Dockyard and the West End as a whole. Despite the history behind Dockyard, time has never stood still, and we have taken steps to ensure everything is on time. After months of work, the clock and the tide mechanisms at the clock tower, one of Bermuda's most recognizable landmarks, are working again. The electrical mechanisms had worn out after being installed around 30 years ago. The hands and the dials on the faces also needed replacing. The clock used to be called the four-face lyre, as each face would tell a slightly different time. Of course, clocking off was never timed by the slowest hand. It's good to see them back. They were like old friends. The existing lighting system was showing a great deal of wear and tear. It was decided that we needed to be even more cost and environmentally conscious. With this in mind, we took the leap and made the decision to invest in LED lighting. The results, we think, and we hope you agree, are fantastic. They are in keeping with the historic nature of Dockyard, while significantly adding to the ambiance in the evenings and showcasing all that is good and beautiful. Dockyard can never stand still. As a tourism hub, we have to keep reinventing ourselves to make sure we stay ahead of the competition. But we also have to be very mindful that we have been entrusted with an extremely important mission: to preserve the incredible heritage of the Royal Naval Dockyard. The restoration projects that have been completed tick both of these boxes. Work on the bungalow, Star of India, and Moresby House has restored these historic buildings to their former glory. The Star of India was originally a bowling alley built in the mid-1930s as an add-on to the Royal Naval Club, which later became the Fleet Canteen and was destroyed in 2015. In 1970, it was turned into a club for the families at HMS Malabar and was called the Star of India after Malabar's badge, which depicted a star on a rayed background with the motto, "Heaven's Light, Our Guide." The bungalow will be used as a residential unit, and with its majestic ocean views, we anticipate it will be very sought after. It's just a stone's throw away from the heart of Dockyard, so there will never be a shortage of things to do for those who will be lucky enough to live there. And then, Moresby House, with its location overlooking the way into Dockyard, is particularly stunning. Built in 1899, it was the residence of the officer in charge of works, who managed the construction and maintenance of all buildings, roads, and bridges, when Dockyard was still a British naval base. It stopped being used as a home in 1951, when the Dockyard closed, but was resurrected in 1965 as the Royal Navy Shore Establishment, HMS Malabar. HMS Malabar continued in operation in a variety of roles until 1995, when the Royal Navy presence in Bermuda was withdrawn. The restoration work was put out to tender and won by Overnight Construction for the building works and Strike Force for the woodworks. The work was made possible thanks to a grant from the Ministry of Public Works. We were committed to restoring the building to its original state, and we've successfully done just that. It was completed on time and on budget. Once its use for the America's Cup is over, it will likely be rented for office space, helping to bring even more life to the area. The America's Cup is one of the most significant sporting events in the world, and it is impossible not to see its impact, most notably at Cross Island. But if you venture out there, stop to look at the Cross Island magazine, more commonly referred to as the Ammunition Building. It was built between 1818 and 1829, which predates the shifting houses and ordnance storehouses of the keep, the earliest of which was completed in 1837. Its original use was for the secure storage of powder, whether for blasting or from ships under repair, and was placed on that island to minimize damage in case of an explosion. It does not look like much, but it served a very important purpose. $39 million was invested in reclaiming 9 acres of land at Cross Island, and we are happy to report this project was completed both on time and on budget. This enormous project was in the pipeline before there was even a mention of the America's Cup. But fittingly, its first use will be the America's Cup Event Village, which is now under the care and guidance of the ACEA. Winning the right to host the America's Cup was a huge coup for Bermuda, and there is always a possibility that it will return. However, we cannot make that assumption, so we have been making sure that alternate uses are examined. With the aid of Deloitte, we set up the Cross Island Legacy Committee, which carried out extensive public consultation and encouraged people island-wide to come up with ideas. The committee had an amazing response, with hundreds of people and organizations submitting ideas for projects. It has presented the WEDCO board with a list of recommendations, and the board is now reviewing those ideas. A final decision on what we'll see on Cross Island will not be made until the America's Cup has left. This is an extremely important piece of land, and its end use could provide many jobs for Bermudians. Consequently, we have made a public commitment to be as transparent in the process of finding a new use as we can. Much of the restoration work has focused on homes. One of the biggest projects has been Prince Alfred Terrace. The renovations include a complete interior restoration, inclusive of additional bathrooms and layout improvements. First use will go to the ACBDA, which will use the facilities until the end of the America's Cup. After that, they will go onto the rental market. A combination of history and stunning views of the Great Sound will surely make them one of the most desirable places to live in Bermuda. The 2 Spar Lane apartments have been given a new lease on life, and now that the renovations and upgrades have been completed, they will again be enjoyed as residential accommodations. With its stunning wooden floors, walls about 3 feet thick, and large windows, the sail loft will be the place to be. Initially used as a sail loft and later converted to a movie theater, it is now restored with upgrades, creating a beautiful space presenting various mixed-use opportunities. Built in the 1850s and roughly 6,000 square feet, or about 1/8 of an acre, the Chicane building was officially called the Machine Shop and housed the mechanical workshop. Power was provided by a steam engine, which was the same method used to power textile mills in the 19th century. Apparently, it was named after a boat called Chicane that was being worked on inside the building. We have made the building wind and watertight, replacing the roof, giving it new windows and new doors. Inside, there has been a new fit-out, and the electrics and plumbing have been upgraded. The building is going to house Bermuda's first vintage transport museum. The museum will showcase vintage land and water vehicles along with transportation memorabilia. It is an exciting project, something that is new for Dockyard, and we are certain it will prove a hit with locals and visitors. It's not quite so sexy, but it is important, and let's face it, where would we be without a guaranteed supply of water? We are building a new reverse osmosis plant in a public-private partnership with Rokon. The existing temporary plant completes 300,000 gallons per day, but future development plans, including America's Cup needs, require 500,000 gallons per day. At North Basin Building Number 15, we were happy to help out the boys in blue who patrol our waters, the Marine Police. We carried out interior and exterior restorations to accommodate the police. We completed a roof replacement, asbestos removal, electrical and interior lighting upgrades at the West End Sailboat Club. The cottages on Cochrane Road have been renovated with new windows, new floors, roof repairs, kitchens and new appliances. We have fulfilled our commitment to make the buildings in the North Basin wind and water tight, which is a costly but an extremely important endeavor. Some examples of this kind of work include the Anchor Restaurant, West End Yachts, the Canvas Shop, the Oleander Cycles Building, and the Belco Vault Room, which all boast new roofs. As we previously stated, time does not stand still, and we at Wedco are continually striving for excellence, improvement, and progress, not only in our team, but also in our facilities and offerings. We are aware that the West End is a crucially important part of Bermuda, and our team is acutely aware of their responsibilities to both Bermuda and her visitors. Wedco is committed to maintaining the historic nature of the area, while at the same time making sure it is developed in a way that benefits Bermuda's economy. We are going from strength to strength and will continue to shine as a jewel in Bermuda's crown for generations to come.